the 1930s, two French anthropologists, Marcel Griaule and Griaule and Dieterlen, spent years living among the Dogon people of Mali, West Africa. The Dogon shared with them a body of astronomical knowledge that, by all conventional understanding, they should not have possessed. They described a companion star orbiting Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. They said this companion was small, incredibly dense and invisible to the naked eye. They said it completed an orbit around Sirius every 50 years. In 1862, the American astronomer Alvin Graham Clark confirmed the existence of Sirius B, a white dwarf star, invisible without a telescope, orbiting Sirius with a period of approximately 50 years. The Dogon had been describing it for centuries. Tonight I want you to tell me, how did a pre-telescopic civilization in West Africa know about a star that Western astronomy did not confirm until the 19th century? Comment below. Griaule and Dieterlen published their findings in 1950 in a paper titled A Sudanese Sirius System. The paper documented the Dogon's detailed cosmological knowledge, which they attributed to oral traditions passed down over generations. The Dogon called the invisible companion star Tolo the seed star, and described it as the smallest and heaviest thing in existence. This is a remarkably accurate description of a white dwarf, a collapsed stellar remnant roughly the size of Earth but with a mass comparable to the Sun. The Dogon did not stop at Sirius B. They described a third body in the Sirius system, which they called Ya, a larger, lighter star that also orbited Sirius. At the time of Griaule's research, no third body in the Sirius system was known. In 1995, French astronomers Daniel Benest and Jean-Louis Dogon published a paper suggesting that a third body in the Sirius system was gravitationally plausible based on observed perturbations. Whether Sirius C has been definitively confirmed remains debated, but the Dogon described it decades before Western astronomers considered it. The Dogon also described Saturn's rings and Jupiter's four largest moons, features that require telescopic observation to detect. They described the Milky Way as a spiral structure, which was not confirmed by Western astronomy until the 20th century. Their cosmological traditions placed the Sun at the centre of the solar system, a heliocentric model that predates Copernicus by centuries in their oral tradition. The Dogon attributed their knowledge to beings they called the Nommo, amphibious, fish-like creatures who came from the Sirius system. According to Dogon tradition, the Nommo arrived in a vessel described as spinning and making a great noise. They taught the Dogon astronomy, agriculture, and social organization before returning to the sky. The Nommo are depicted in Dogon art as humanoid figures with fish-like characteristics, often shown emerging from water. The mainstream academic response to the Dogon mystery has centered on contamination, the argument that the Dogon acquired their astronomical knowledge from European visitors in the early 20th century, before Griaule's arrival. The astronomer Carl Sagan proposed this explanation, suggesting that missionaries or travelers could have shared information about Sirius B anthropologist Walter van Beek conducted fieldwork among the Dogon in the 1990s and reported that the specific astronomical knowledge described by Griaule was not widely known among contemporary Dogon, suggesting that Griaule may have been working with a small number of specially initiated informants whose knowledge was not representative. These are legitimate criticisms, but they have weaknesses. The contamination theory requires that European visitors not only knew about Sirius B, which was a relatively obscure piece of astronomical knowledge in the early 20th century, but also communicated it in sufficient detail for the Dogon to integrate it into a complex cosmological system, complete with orbital periods, density descriptions, and predictions about a third stellar body that Europeans themselves did not yet know about. The contamination theory also does not account for the depth and specificity of the Dogon's broader astronomical knowledge, including Saturn's rings and the spiral structure of the galaxy. Van Beek's fieldwork is often cited as a definitive refutation, but his findings are more nuanced than they appear. The Dogon's most sacred knowledge is held by initiated elders and is not shared freely. Griaule spent over 15 years building relationships with specific initiated informants. Van Beek's shorter fieldwork period and different methodological approach may not have accessed the same level of esoteric tradition. Robert Temple, in his 1976 book The Sirius Mystery, expanded on Griaule's findings and argued that the Nommo were an extraterrestrial species who visited Earth in the distant past. Temple traced Sirius-related mythology across multiple ancient cultures, including the Egyptians, Babylonians and Greeks, arguing that the thread of Sirius knowledge was more widespread and more ancient than any single culture's oral tradition could explain. The Dogon mystery remains unresolved. The knowledge exists. The specificity of that knowledge, the orbital period, the density, the predicted third body, goes beyond what a casual transmission of astronomical facts could produce. Whether the source was the Nommo, an unknown ancient tradition of precise astronomical observation, or something else entirely, the Dogon looked at Sirius and knew what no one should have been able to see. Subscribe now and follow the evidence.